Goodbye. Goodbye.
Dust clouds rising, lineups posted, shades on, lawn chairs, parents posted, seeds in the cheek, dreams in the dirt, cleats in the cage, stains on the shirt. This ain't no highlight reel or fast takes, just game talk, raw cuts and grass stains. From the backfields to the big dreams, we're talking shop with the real teams. It's Spittin Seeds powered by cold weather bats, where the story's alive and the culture's intact. So zip up the bag, lace up the spice, and settle in. We're on the mic.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to a very special edition of Spittin Seeds. I'm your host, Michael, and today I'm showing up as a proud Northwood alum, a former coach, and someone who is just full of pride and gratitude. This episode is different. It is not just about stats. It's not just about big plays or who is hot in the postseason. It's about legacy. It's about relationships. And it's about what truly matters. And it's about two guys that I've known since they were in high school who are now about to step onto the biggest stage in NCAA Division II baseball. Today, we are talking and highlighting the Northwood Timberwolves, who, for the first time in program history, are heading to the Division II College World Series in Cary, North Carolina. And I'm beyond excited to be joined by two players helping make that happen, Josh Getz and Tyler Sager. Both of these guys were part of our USA Prime travel baseball team before they got to Northwood. And let me tell you, they earned every little bit of where they are now. These were the guys who busted their tails day in and day out. They asked the right questions, and they put in the extra work when no one was watching. We weren't chasing comfort. We were truly chasing competition. We had families loading up their cars. And like I said, we were seeking the best competition to get these boys prepared for college baseball. And that's truly what we've done. We stayed in Airbnbs and hotels. We really were on the lookout for the best tournaments, which even led us to Florida. And through all of that, these guys learned how to compete the right way with grit, humility, becoming a true baseball team together, and individually developing a real love for the game. And now they are taking everything they've built, not only during the years playing for myself, but in high school and in youth and in T-ball with their families. And they're putting it on display on college baseball's biggest stage. So for anyone listening who maybe hasn't followed Northwood baseball closely this year, that's okay. Here's the story. The Timberwolves record currently sits at 40-20. That alone is very impressive, but it's going to get better. They went on a 20-game win streak in the middle of the year. We'll highlight that in a little bit. They fought their way through the Great Midwest Athletic Conference, the GMAC. They won the regular season title. They decided to follow that up, and they took the GMAC tournament title in truly dramatic fashion. They finished with an absurd 25-7 record in conference. We're talking extra inning walk-offs, comebacks, dog piles. This team has been through the fire. In the Super Regionals, they took down a powerhouse in UIndy, the University of Indianapolis. They went down there and in a gritty 3-game series to punch their ticket to the World Series, where, frankly, they dominated Game 3 from that first pitch. That was the moment. And you want to know what makes this even more personal for me? Josh Getz and Tyler Sager aren't just names on their roster or in their lineup. I've coached them. I've gotten to know them. I've watched them grow, not only just as athletes, but as men. I've known both players and their families for years, and I'm very excited to see where life takes them beyond. For Josh, as he continuously grows and eventually is done with his playing days at Northwood, he's going to be going into the United States Navy, and I can't be more excited for him and his family following with his dad's footsteps there. And for Tyler, I've watched him evolve from a raw, hungry travel ball kid into a reliable number one arm for the Timberwolves. The kind of guy who thrives when the pressure is on. It's always been that way since high school. And you don't fake that. That comes from putting in the work when nobody is watching. These are the kind of guys that you root for, not just because of what they do between the lines, but because of who they are off of the field. So today we are going to relive some of the highlights of the season, talk about this historic postseason run, and look ahead to what it means to represent Northwood University in the D2 College World Series. Whether you are a Northwood alum or a baseball junkie, I will tell you right now, this is a team you're going to want to get behind and follow this upcoming week. So grab a seat, grab some seeds, settle in, and get ready to hear from two guys who are truly about to live the moment that every ball player dreams about. Let's get into it with Josh Getz and Tyler Sager. All right, we are now joined with Josh Getz and Tyler Sager, both student athletes at Northwood University. Guys, thanks for taking a few minutes. I know you guys are going to be going onto the bus and the plane tomorrow to head on out to North Carolina, but appreciate you guys taking a few minutes, and I guess I'll use the personal string to convince you guys that you better take a few minutes here as well.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
So obviously, first off, absolute just congratulations to you both and the entire team to make it to the very first time for Northwood to go to the D2 College World Series. Just walk us through that Game 3 Super Regional, just the whole thing, the feeling going into that first pitch. You guys got out to a really fast start and really just put it on cruise control from there.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of like any other day, show up to the yard. Tensions were a little more high, just thinking it could be the last time we're on the field together. Just from talks the night before and the game the day before, it just felt different. Like, we kind of came out there and we were really focused on what we wanted to do. Obviously, at that point, it was the farthest Northwood has ever gone. So from that standpoint, it was kind of like, why stop now? It's not good enough. And I think everyone who was playing or not playing really just had that mentality, and it showed in that game.
And I think getting out to that early lead, kind of like we did, was, really big, because we kind of knew if we got out to a lead, things would probably go our way. And we threw it really well that day too, so that helped. But it was definitely good getting out to that early lead and then kind of riding that out for the rest of the game there.
Yeah, and I tuned in as much as I could to that Game 3 with everything else going on this past weekend. But, putting up 25 hits in a game, especially in a playoff game, that's, whatever the approach is, whether it's the team approach or the individual approach. Josh, it's things that we preached for years on our roster. If having that approach, that's just a sign of just pure success right there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we really, just from when I was younger playing with you, is, we always talked about, quality at bats, how many can you string together? And we really showed, what we were capable of in Game 3, and really, all throughout the playoff. That was Game 2 of that was our, first loss in playoff, but you just see how important string quality at bats together is.
And for you, Tyler, going back to that Game 1 in the Supers, again, a very consistent stat line for what you've really had this entire season. 7 innings of only 3 earned with 4 strikeouts going deep into the game. Talk a little about how really your success continued throughout the entirety of the year and how you built up to that point for last Thursday.
Yeah, I think for me, it's just doing what I do the best. We talk about scouting reports, and we have scouting reports, and we look into it, obviously. But for me, it's just trying to do what I do, because I know that if I'm trying to change myself or maybe what I'm throwing or how I'm doing stuff for one game, I'm going to get all jumbled up, and it's just not going to work. So for me, the biggest part's just kind of doing what I do and then trusting the guys behind me. We've been playing great defense for the whole season, really. And that's to Josh's credit and all the other guys in the infield too and the outfield. But
So really, for this entirety of the year, you guys have, like I mentioned earlier, had a fantastic season from really getting back from Florida all the way through today. For you guys, what would you say has been really the turning point of the season where it says, okay, now this is a team that not only is just going to go into the tournament and maybe a regional or super regional, but there's something we can do here?
I mean, when you look back in March and from Florida, leaving Florida, we were 5-10. It was kind of, you think about, hitting the panic button, you're only a couple weeks in, and it's like, oh man, like we've worked for this for 6 months, and all of a sudden we're 5-10. Like, how do we get out of this hole? And then, you get into conference play and that 20-game win streak, there were a lot of games in there that were close. A lot of games where guys were just, having each other's backs. Maybe, one guy wouldn't do so well, but, the guy next to him would, pick him up. I think through all that 20-game win streak, we kind of saw we just picked each other up in ways, that maybe a lot of teams can't do. And that was kind of the first time we really were like, all right, like maybe like, if we can keep this going, like, Florida's behind us, the past, however many weeks are behind us, we're kind of turning a new leaf here.
Go ahead, Tyler.
And that 20th game in a row that we won too, we were down 7-0 in like the 7th inning or something. And that was one of those games where it kind of felt like when we came back and won, it was like, oh, like we might have something here, because you don't make runs without a game at least like that somewhere in your schedule. And that was kind of like just at least for me, it was like a big, like, hey, we kind of got something here. We can make a little run at some things.
So that aside, I'll turn to the playoff run thus far. For both of you, what's really been the favorite memory or moment thus far in this season's playoff run?
I think for me, it was our catcher, Ben DeVries, hit a 3-run homer on day 2 of the regional in our second game, and we won we were down like 11-7 in the 8th, and we won 15-12 or something crazy, and like that home run was pretty sweet.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple I could think of. Obviously, Ben with that homer, like Tyler said, and then the first game of the regional, it was Lewis. I think we were up 3-0, and they put up a 7 spot, and we came back with another 6 spot, and then Ben's home run, Logan with a walk-off single against GV to win us the that side of the regional. So I mean, there's been 3 or 4 moments of like what you were talking about, Ruby, of like, man, we can actually we might have something here. It's kind of just been continuously, like, I don't want to say surprising ourselves, but like just fighting for everything that we've got. We've gotten to this point by fighting. It hasn't been easy. It seems easy when you get a berth to the World Series after a 17-4 win. But if you look at the past 6 or 7 games, we've kind of fought and clawed our way to where we're at right now. And it's because of, all those. It's because of Ben, Ty pitching, Logue. I mean, it's been literally everyone in the lineup at any given point has done something to earn why we're at where we're at right here. So it's been pretty cool.
So with all that said, obviously you guys are going to be going on a bus and a plane tomorrow. Energy-wise, feel-wise, how are you guys feeling heading out to North Carolina tomorrow?
I mean, from an emotion standpoint, I'm pretty fired up, like ready to go. Maybe my body from that side doesn't feel the greatest at this point in the year, but I mean, it's the World Series. It's the coolest place we can get to. So, I mean, once the game day rolls around, it's going to be all gas, and it doesn't matter how we're feeling.
Yeah, I'd say pretty comfortable. I think most guys are, we had practice today at 11:30, and it was, very kind of carefree, just, loose. And I think that kind of goes back to the point of just like we've proved every day that we belong here, and there's nothing to stress over. Whatever happens at the World Series, it is what it is. We just kind of go out there and play the same game we've been playing for the past, 8 or 9 games.
So to go with that a little bit, obviously you both know, and I hit on it as well, that I'm as well an alum of Northwood. For you guys, describe a little bit about what it means to wear Northwood on your chest going into a moment like this.
Yeah, I mean, after we won the Super Regional, you looked on Twitter and you see a bunch of alumni. Max Bain, for one. You guys do a lot of work with him. But I saw him. He tweeted he quote tweeted and said, like, all the alumni are behind you. Just for little old Northwood. So to see things like that of like the alumni are behind us, and it's kind of felt like in the past 5 or 6 years we've felt like we're always the school that's kind of undermined, and we're always the underdog for everything. So to be able to do this and have alumni's support is unbelievable. It's incredible. To look on Twitter and see everyone quote tweeting with like this is incredible. Like I can't believe this is happening. It's been obviously amazing.
Yeah, just the support I think we received from like everybody around the alumni, just people around like school and town, all of our families and everybody that's been around for the last however many weeks it's been now. It's been really cool. And going with the Northwood on your chest thing, like we talk about that all the time. Like we're playing for the guy next to us, and it doesn't matter who's playing well, who's not playing well, or who's swinging it or who's pitching it. Like everybody we all know what we want, and we're all kind of working in the same direction. I think that's been one of the biggest parts of this whole thing here.
So, GMAC tournament MVP. Love the fact that I had to text you congratulating you before you even knew that you actually got the MVP. Talk me through how you've had, whether it was last year or bits and pieces this year, of whether it was a slump for a single game or a couple days or a couple weeks. What really came together, whether it was mentally or physically, to allow you to have the type of tournament in the GMAC tournament to become an MVP, and what are things that allowed you to do so that those that are maybe listening or watching that are younger could apply as well?
Yeah, from last year, I was starting shortstop last year, dealt with a lot of injuries, ankle in Florida. I was out for a few weeks, and then the biggest one was I tore my labrum against Ashland last year. So I was out for the remainder of the season. So I had a few months of not doing anything and just rehabbing. I kind of got to just sit back and kind of watch everything. And I took summer ball off. I didn't do anything. I just tried to heal up for obviously this season. And I kind of came into fall ball with kind of like that a careless mentality, kind of just like like whatever happens. Like if I go 0 for 40, if I go 40 for 40, if I make every play, if I don't, like whatever happens. This isn't my career. This is just a moment in time where I can have fun with my friends. And I ended up having a really good fall. It's kind of that like that flush it mentality. Whatever happens, bad or good, I'm just gonna take it, move on. And then from a tournament standpoint, it was really my teammates did all of that. They put me in positions where I could get RBIs and make plays in the field and do what I could to help them. I'm obviously super thankful that I was able to do that. But at the same time, I wouldn't have gotten that MVP if it wasn't for other guys getting on base, stealing bases, and doing what they had to do so that I could have that opportunity.
And then for you, Tyler, let's talk about the no-hitter that you had earlier this year. Would have been nice if you would have mixed in a few of those the summer I had you. But with that said, what clicked for you that day, and how much confidence did that give you heading into the remainder of the season and into the postseason here?
I don't know exactly kind of what the difference was that day, because I think I had the most walks I've had, and I couldn't tell you how long that day. I think I had 3 or 4 in the game, but on the confidence side, like I'm already a pretty confident in myself person, especially when I'm on the baseball field. But having a day like that, when you kind of get you get all the recognition and all that, like, it's cool and all, but it's kind of just like, all right, like, let's go next week because, I mean, you're only as good as your last one. And I mean, you can have a day like that, but if that's your only good day out of the whole season, I mean, does it really matter all that much? So it's just kind of I mean, it was definitely cool and everything, but it just kind of helped me kind of springboard into the next week. And that was kind of the midway point of our conference schedule too. So it was good kind of getting the back half of the regular season and then into the postseason too.
So with you guys heading out tomorrow for heading out to Cary, is there anything that you guys are most excited to be sure to take in, whether it's the plane ride, the getting to the field the first time, anything that you guys are thinking, oh, I'm going to be looking forward to that?
I think I'm just going to try to, enjoy the little things, more. It's with playoff baseball, you can kind of get sped up sometimes, especially if you're looking on Twitter or Instagram, you always see like the, super regional game 1 or whatever and blah, blah, blah. But, obviously there's only 8 teams left. And so I think I'm just going to kind of enjoy everything. This is kind of a once in a lifetime opportunity for a lot of us. Whether that's, waking up in the morning, getting off the bus, seeing the crowd, the little kids or the food, whatever. Cary, it just, being at the USA Baseball Training Center is, like I said, a once in a lifetime opportunity. So I think I'm really just going to, try to enjoy every single moment of it as best I can.
I think that first, like on Friday night, our first game, I think that'll be kind of one of those things where it's like, oh man, like we're here now, whether that's, whether we feel ready for it or not. I think, kind of looking around before that first pitch will kind of be a pretty big deal. But like Josh said, I think the little things will be awesome too. We've heard like there'll be some things in our hotel room when we get there and just little things like that. That should be pretty cool for a school that nobody knows about. We've never been there before. I think that'll be pretty sweet.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't looked at the sizes of all of the schools there, but I would have to go out on a limb and say Northwood's probably going to be size-wise one of the smaller ones that's going to be showing up to this World Series. So it really just goes to show with what Coach Baldwin has put together with the roster and what you guys have been able to do to click from game 1 to today here at the end of May. So kind of like you guys both hit on already, the whole alumni is really excited, not only just all of the baseball players, but students are of all sorts that are graduated. I've seen it across all of my platforms that I'm still in contact with, all different guys I went to school with and other sports as well. So really, guys, best of luck from not only just an alum, but your guys' old coach. I wish you guys best of luck, and hopefully we can do another show here in like a couple weeks celebrating everything.
Of course.
This one really, truly is special, sitting down with both Josh and Tyler, 2 guys that I personally have known and coached for years, and now seeing them prepare to play in the D2 College World Series. That's about as full circle as it gets, from long weekends on the road with our USA Prime team to battling for Northwood on the biggest stage in D2 baseball. I've seen the work from these 2, the growth and the heart that these guys bring on truly a daily basis. And now the whole country is about to get to see it too, which is really, really cool. Today, we talked with both Tyler and Josh, but they're not the only ones making a huge impact on this year. Numerous players have stepped up and contributed to this winning mentality and helped win every single pitch. To all of the players that I have coached and really all the players out there who are in high school, college, or beyond, your work matters and your path is truly just as meaningful. This journey is something special, and do not take a moment for granted. So if you are in the Midland area, if you are from Michigan, or if you've got Northwood ties, let's be sure to back these guys hard this upcoming week. Get out to Frick's if you're in Midland. Rep your baby blue. Watch the live streams, and let's let this team continue to hear the love all the way from Cary. This isn't just about a championship run. It's really about legacy, relationship, and proving what belief, hard work, and a close-knit crew can truly do. That's it for this special edition of Spittin Seeds. Be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and follow us on all of our social medias. We've got more stories like this in the pipeline and more really cool things that'll be coming out in the next few weeks. I'm Michael, proud coach, proud alum, and proud of these men these players have become. Once again, this is Spittin Seeds. Best of luck to Northwood in the D2 College World Series, and we will see you next time. Goodbye.
Cuts and grass stains. Dust clouds rising, lineups posted, shades on lawn chairs, parents posted.